Hi there, welcome to the Labyrinth. I'm Anna Pirelli. Thank you for joining me. If you're a returning visitor, I really appreciate the fact that you're still here. If you're a newbie to the channel, I hope that you'll find content that you enjoy, and certainly that the content that I'm giving you today is helpful for you. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the blessings angel, Amarushaya. Now, hopefully you've already watched the video on the angelic kingdom and you're aware already that Amarushaya belongs to the order of angels called the cherubim or cherubim. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but whatever. Anyway, this particular order of angels is very powerful. It's involved in the manifestation of miracles, and the cherubim angels present as females, if you're not aware of that. So if you're not comfortable, just putting it out there, if you're not comfortable calling her Amarushaya, you can use another name that's more comfortable to you, or you can simply refer to her as the angel of blessings. For now, just so you know, I've put a lot of pressure on myself to upload the content before the 1st of January because we're entering into this new year, and now is a perfect opportunity to connect with her power to increase, maximize any manifestation processes throughout the new year. Now, my motivation for doing this is because there's so much unrest on the earth plane at the moment, with a lot of people struggling to find meaning, find their purpose in life, or even find their divine path. And they may feel trapped in unwanted circumstances and seeking that freedom from suffering. So when we work with the angels, we understand that freedom is something that comes from our Creator and from within, that feeling of being free. So when we ask for angelic assistance, we're calling from the depths of our heart to the Creator, the source, whatever name you want to apply to this force, the supreme power of light, all that I am, are some other terms that are quite familiar. Now, the other thing to be clear is angels can't, because of spiritual law, they can't intervene on our behalf unless they've been invited to. And the way we do this is through calling upon the Creator, and Amarushaya is one of the ways that we can call through the use of ceremony. So I go into this a little bit further as we go through this video, and I have a feeling it's going to be a long one. I never really know until I start it. I apologize if it's going to be long. Anyway, the whole process of raising our awareness and consciousness is to recognize that our divinity, it is within us. It's not out there somewhere in the universe waiting to be claimed. It lies within us, and it's up to us to untap it and open it up and to feel the beauty. Words can't give it justice. I'll carry on with the next slide. So before we talk about Amarushaya specifically, I wanted to just have a quick chat about blessings and give a reminder that blessings take shape in many, many forms, and it's important for our own development and growth that we be able to recognize and acknowledge and be grateful for them, because it's not just about growth, it's about being receptive. The more we acknowledge and are grateful for our blessings, the more we receive. Because the more we're open to receiving them. Now, oftentimes life will give us blessings and we just can't see the blessing in the situation immediately. It might be quite a troubling situation, but what we can still do is give thanks for blessings seen and unseen, which is a wonderful paragraph I learned years ago, which is, even if you're really down on your luck and thinking your chips are down, you can do a little prayer type thing, or a little mantra of, I give thanks for blessings seen or unseen, blessings to the right of me, blessings to the left, blessings in front of me and blessings behind. Because over the passage of time, these really terrible, troubling situations actually reveal the blessings and what we've learned and grown from them. So they can act as very powerful teachers to help us to find our own individual freedom of expression. Actually, an example of what this might look like can actually be a marital breakdown or a relationship breakdown, which is incredibly distressing usually at the time, but later on down the track you realize actually it was good that it happened, because it might not have been good the way it ended, but it was good that it did end because you both outgrew each other or something like that. On the other hand, if you had an illness that was quite serious later on down the track, it might be, I developed fibromyalgia or whatever, but during this time frame, I use that because actually I've heard of quite a few people developing that and then recovering from it. But it becomes this process where they're able, the universe gives them the space to reflect on what they want to let go of in their lives and what they want to continue with. So, as I say, it's over the process of time that often these unseen blessings reveal themselves. So, just to reiterate, the more gratitude, the more you call and invoke, the quicker the response to your calls occurs, and the more grateful you are, the more abundant the blessings you receive. It's just fabulous once you crack on into it. Anyway, moving on to the next slide. So the reason I'm trying to get this to you before January the 1st is because if you've been really busy, you might not have managed to make the most of that whole lessons learned thing. But when we're coming into a new year, that means we're actually closing out an old year, an old cycle. And we tend to invariably find ourselves reflecting, even if it's just a glancing thought, on the experiences of the year that's coming out. So for now, we'll be looking at 2023 because obviously I'm recording the video today in 2023. We'll be looking back at, okay, how did 2023 go? What worked, what didn't work, what would I like to change, what might have been some things I could have done better. And for example, if I talk about myself, I'm talking about it later anyway, I've had some health issues through 2023, and so I can look at putting in place my learnings from this, if you like, to improve things for 2024. So that will be paying attention to my diet, my eating styles, my sleep patterns, my exercise, all of this kind of stuff. And each of us, you, me, everybody, we're all thinking about these things because the year is coming to a close. We're at a pivotal stage of change, and we, if we want to get spiritual techie language about it, we're going through what is called an energy shift. So this is a prime time to create a ceremony and call upon Amarushaya so that we can shift forward into 2024, the new year, start as we mean to go, basically. So before we start talking about how we can access the energy of the blessings angel, Amarushaya, I would recommend, because I'm aware that I know people will be watching this video who haven't actually made a connection. They might actually be super skeptical, and that is absolutely fine, not an issue from where I sit. But those people that do have faith and who do have spirituality, as far as being spiritually aware or believing in a higher power and that kind of thing, what you might want to do is make a commitment to yourself along the lines of, I choose to align my will with the will of the Creator. Now, you can use different approaches than the ones I'm putting to you, okay? Because everybody's got to personalise it, anything to their own comfort levels. I know some people make divine statements of intention, such as, I am aligned with divine will, I am, being the emphasis on the am. Now, the purpose behind the angelic connection, which is what we're striving for, is to raise, now I'm just giving you some language here as well, words, to raise your light levels to the maximum that you can carry, for the purposes, obviously, to increase your capacity to live with love, light, and divine protection. Now remember, energy is magnetic, and we attract that which is vibrating at the same rate as us. Now that's a pretty stark thing if we think about it. I'm not sure yet, I can't remember if we've covered this in the Universal Laws playlist yet, but if we haven't, basically what this means is, if your aura is vibrating at a low level and you're feeling a bit woebegone and bogged down by emotions such as pain, grief, distrust, suffering, and all these negative emotions that keep you locked into situations of feeling helpless and powerless and paralyzed, what you're going to do, because your vibration is low, is you're going to continue to attract low vibration people to you, and they will support and assist you to keep you locked into these situations until such a time as you make a conscious decision to increase your vibration, or the vibration of your aura, so that you can attract people vibrating at a higher level. And when we talk about vibrating at a higher level, we're talking about light. So I just keep interchanging this. When we talk about light, we're talking about love. Light, love, high vibration. Okay? So we want to be attracting the highest vibration, the most light and loving people that we can into our auras, and to get them into our auric or social field or social circle, then we need to be vibrating at the same level, So onus of responsibility upon all of us to raise our vibration and our light levels to the maximum that we can carry. Because let's be real, who doesn't want to feel the bliss and the love? Okay, so if we're looking to do this, then logically and rationally speaking, I hear people going like, what? How can you be logical and rational when you're talking about angels? Okay, because I've had it proved to me, because I used to be a skeptic, whereas now I accept it, okay? That's another story. You can go and check out my little video, if you like, on how I overcame my own resistance to the concepts of angels. I'm still, if you can hear, I'm still very practical. I still am not one of these people that's all sweetness and all of this kind of thing. I'm just very earthy and very grounded, actually. But anyway, getting back to it, to connect with angels, the way I see it, is the most logical, rational way to fast track your own development and to raise your vibration, to open yourself to receiving greater harmony, greater light, greater love in your lives. Because isn't that what we all want? We all want to be able to live peacefully, surrounded by love and harmony. I forgot to mention, and feeling valued and respected. I mean, that goes a long way. So I'm just going to make the point here before I flick onto the next slide, that when you're trying to connect with any angels, be it Amarushaya or any other one, from my perspective, I always call for the creator first, by whatever name you call the creator. If it's Father Creator, Mother Creator, angels and guides, that is who I will call to. So I might be a bit repetitive throughout this video, and if so, I apologise, because it is what it is, really. I'm doing my best. I'm a human. What can I say? So in the first instance, it really doesn't matter if you believe in angels or you don't, okay? Especially, it doesn't really matter if you don't believe in angels with great big white feathery wings, like in this image here, because the reality is angels are light beings. They vibrate at the highest rates of light, and some people call them light beings of the highest order. And in fact, I did, because funnily enough, before I actually personalized my connection with angels, I didn't acknowledge they existed, and for me, they were just light beings. Well, actually, that's not what they were. I used to try and raise my levels of light by connecting with these ambiguous light beings of the highest order, not recognizing at the time that I was actually asking for an angelic intervention. I didn't realize this until later. Anyway, where I'm going with this is their auras vibrate and radiate at the same levels of the divine, the eternal, the creator, whatever name you wish to call this higher power. And this is my understanding. So my understanding also is that their will is creator will, and when we connect to them, we do it through this praise and gratitude and love. And they are considered primarily, I mean, they've got a number of purposes, but primarily to be messengers of God. However, they do work with us on the earth plane to help and assist us, bestowing upon us the power of healing, miracles, or as some people like to call it, angel magic. I like to call it angel magic, but it's more like angel blessings, actually. Now, some people will be frightened of connecting with angels because of something that someone has told them, or something that they've heard along the way that makes them think that angels are fearful. I just want to remind you that the idea of frightening angels is definitely not the divine idea, and it's certainly not divinely inspired. It is the product of a human condition called fear of the unknown. So there's a couple of factors here that you should know. And the first is that, once I said it before, The angels are aligned with divine will, and their love is unconditional. They do not judge us in any way, shape, or form. Their primary purpose is to seek to support us and to protect us and to help us remember and to return to our divine path. So equally, an angel will never ever give you a fear-based message or give one to somebody else, like the mate down the road or that person that you're paying $25 for a message from. If they give you a fear-based message, or if they berate you and say that it's your angel, or they call you names or belittle you or tell you to harm yourself or somebody else, that's not your angel. Okay, that's them. So anything that is less than pure, unadulterated love is not an angelic communication. So take that on board, because if you hear it, now's the time to actually invoke the energy of Archangel Michael and to purify your aura, so that only these beings of the highest order, only angels of the highest order of light can enter into your aura and to give you messages. I don't think I can stress that any more than what I just have. So one of the reasons why I can assure you that an angel will never say anything that is less than love is because they also have a divine plan, and they are bound by spiritual law, and they also can incur negative karma for themselves if they were that way inclined to go and do something that was less than love. They would pay the price for it big time on a karma level. But the reality is they're not egotistical like humans. They don't seek to be put on a pedestal and to be adored. You know what I mean? For them, it's all about the creator, the adoration of the creator, and fulfilling divine will. And in that process, there is a great love generated from them towards us. And the other thing is, too, they work as a team. So they see any successes as being a shared success. They don't like when we call upon Amarushaya, she's not going to sit there and, at the end of it all, when the manifestation comes to fruition, she's not going to be sitting back in a chair filing her nails going, look at me, God, I'm so fabulous, right? Because the thing is, when you're talking about this level of communication anyway, you can't lie to people. It's all pretension just melts away. Anyway, maybe I'm speaking too much about that because this isn't in my notes. I've just gone off on a tangent. All right, so what I suggest is when you invoke angels, number one, if you are fear-based, just to invoke the creator before you call the angels. And that's the point I guess I really want to stress. If you call the creator God, and that's not comfortable for you, then try these other ones. I've got a list of them here. Higher power, creator, all that I am, the great I am. These are all examples, because what you're doing is demonstrating your intention and faith, okay? Now, if you truly believe in your God or creator by whatever name it is, then you will know at a core level that creator God will not put you in a place of harm, okay? They will, they hold your best interests at heart. So equally, when you're doing your angelic work, requests, prayers and invocations, that while this is true, there are limitations, and this should reassure us all, on what the angels can and can't do, and how they can support us, and how they have to sometimes try and guide us and steer us in different directions, for want of a better word, because they never abandon us. And as far as I know, they don't step back. Even if we step back or put a bit of distance, they're still there ready for us. So because of universal spiritual law, they cannot intervene in our lives without a request. You, me, everybody else, we must invite them to enter our life, okay? Because they cannot also, here's another thing, they cannot interfere with a person's divine plan. And that includes not telling you the answers to some of the questions that you want to know. Because in our divine plan, there are some things that we have to work out ourselves, because this is the learning from the lessons. They do not make decisions for us, right? So obviously, as a person that's delivered a lot of readings and that kind of stuff, clearly we get asked a lot of the time, well, I want to know, tell me, I need to know, I've got two options and I need to know which pathway to take. Well, That's the whole point of coming to the pathway. You've got to make a choice. You've got to make a decision, because the angels will not make that decision for you. They will support you with the decision that you make. You can always change your mind and change your direction down the track, okay? Their actions are all based on the highest good and the best possible outcomes, and they are steeped in love and care for you. You can call upon them for protection when you feel unsafe, and you can call upon them for protection on your home or your car if you're traveling distance. I've put some strategies up about that. It's the one that I find the easiest is actually the blue bubble of protection, and I've certainly put it on a car. That would be a miracle. I've had a couple of miracles with cars, actually, when the car's in a blue bubble. I've diverted again. They will not participate in any activities that will bring harm to another person or yourself, because this is actually prohibited under spiritual law. And frankly, I can't see them wanting to do something harmful anyway, even if you ask them to, because I would be more inclined to see a person or think of a person actually saying, I want the karma bus to arrive, and that person's been mean to me. I want to see the karma bus run them over 5 times, I would be inclined to think that the angels would be probably having a bit of a laugh about that and going, oh my God, that poor thing, hurting, not laughing at you, but sort of, what we do with our own loved small ones that are still growing and evolving. We look at them and we just think, oh my God, you funny little thing, come here, let me give you a hug. I can see this is causing you some pain, but that's not the way to solve our problems, darling. You know what I mean? I would be more inclined to think that would be the way they approach it, and that they would try and redirect you to find healthier outcomes. So anyway, in summary here, Amarushaya and all the angels are seeking to see us experience true happiness, health, and to feel connected and united with the divine, the creator. And they seek, I was going to say want, they don't want, they seek to assist us to recognize that we all have a spark of the creator that lies within us. So just some more tips here, okay? When we start working with angels, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable or weird at first, especially when it comes to using angelic names. So the point is, if a name doesn't feel right, just swap it out, okay? It's the intention that's important. As said before, you don't have to believe in angels with big fluffy wings. I personally, that's my thing these days, where initially I found the idea or the concept of angels with fluffy wings to be a bit on the repelling side. After a period of time, it was just like, if you're an angel, just show me your wings, please. I just want to have a flash. Yep, that's fine. Use the fluffy ones. Because I found it really difficult after a little while to be able to differentiate between one light being and another. And when, if you're having a scratch going, what is she talking about? One light being and another. The bottom line is, we as humans, we're light beings. We're just wearing a body, okay? So when we, some people call it dying, but we call it transition. I call it transitioning. When we leave our body behind and outgrow it, we return to being a light body, okay? So that's probably the best way I can explain it. So when you do spirit communication, as I have, when you see all these different light bodies, in the end it's like, oh my God, like, what's that one? Is that one that's left a body behind because I'm still trying to work out how to communicate with them? And hang on a moment, I've got this big bright light over here. What's that one here for? Oh, and then I've got a smaller one over there. Is that a child? Oh no, look, it's a fairy energy, because that's how I ended up being able to differentiate. I got the ones that were from the fairy realm. It was like, yeah, look, please, if you're a light being and you're from the fairy realm, or the nature realm, or whatever you want to call it, give me a flash of your dragonfly wings. And if you're from the angelic realm, pair of bird feathers, that'll do it for me. Thank you very much. This is how I started to develop my capacities to communicate and to get the messages clearly. So back to what I was going to talk about with this slide is, when you first start connecting with them, there is a level of discomfort, or there was for me. I wouldn't go as far as to say that I was petrified or terrified, but I certainly had a level of discomfort and disquiet. Is that the word? Is that how you pronounce it? Disquietude. right? Within me, being unsettled, being unsure. And it did take a real leap of faith, I guess, because obviously we do get conditioned to think that anything like what I'm talking to you about is one, you've got to be insane. And then the other thing is that, if you're not insane, then there's something untoward, so there's a little discomfort there. So this is one of the reasons why I adapted this process of calling upon the Creator first and my guides and guardians, because I was able to trust them, to believe that anything I might have an interact, they're just not going to take me to a place that's unsafe, is where I'm going. Goodness me, I could just waffle on and on and on about this because I love this stuff. Okay, so I have got so many notes here. I'm going to actually abbreviate a little bit as far as tips go. Okay, trust the process. Trust that your creator and your guardians got your back. Trust that your guides have got your back. Okay, trust that any messages that come through to you, if they are messages of love, they will be pure communications. Okay. And if you feel frightened about anything, that's your limitations and your stuff, okay? One of the simplest, beautiful messages that I ever had to give, and I do want to talk about this because it's just so lovely. It's not necessarily related to the slide, but I used to offer single card messages on Facebook to people, just free ones every now and again. And there was a lady in the US who is a Native American. I actually can't remember now if she was in Canada. I think she was in Canada by that stage. But anyway, I sent her a little message. I've never ever spoken to the lady. And what I do recall, because this is one of those situations that has huge meaning to you down the track, or me, is I sent her this like one little paragraph, and it was along the lines of, I'm sending you it was along the lines of, your message is, I'm sending you a butterfly and it's a sign that I'm with you. Well, this woman, because anyway, I connected with a grandmother, but the reason I connected with her grandmother was because this woman was so, oh my God, she said, my grandmother has died. And she said to me that when she passed over to the other side, she would send me a message to let me know that she's still with me. And we had agreed it would be a butterfly. So what I did, I'm getting energy thinking about this. This was an amazing experience. Not an angelic one, but associated with angels. Okay, so everything about the angels is beautiful and it's blissful. And as far as my angelic experiences, I prefer not to tell people too much, because I think, and this is just my call, I guess, or my guidance, is that if I tell people what my experiences are, then I'm sowing a seed in their head, so that when they have their own experiences with angels, they might think that didn't really happen. She put that in my head. That didn't really happen. So what I prefer to do is actually just give people strategy and let them find their own experiences, and that way they can rest assured that it was the real deal. And anyway, so trust your guidance. Okay, you will ultimately be able to tell the difference yourself when you're talking to people, as to whether or not they've had genuine experiences, or if they're just telling you that they've had experiences. Because what you will find is, when you do start sharing information, some people feel bad because they haven't had it, and so then they tell fibs so they feel, you know what I mean, so that they can feel part of the conversation. It's unnecessary. If they can drop that, they'll have the experience anyway. Everything happens at the divine time, in the divine way. Everything's perfect right now, and the angels will help us to understand that. So this image is one of my AI generated ones, and obviously it's supposed to be Archangel Michael. So I decided to keep it here because we have been talking about him, and how if you fear based, you can draw upon his energy or support to help feel safe. Just a reminder, he's got a legion of warrior angels, so you're always safe with him. And I wanted to add to this, actually. I'm going to add a bit of humour in here. In my experiences, and I'm doing a bit of an Aussie accent here, in my experiences of working with Archangel Michael at different times, he's not like John Travolta in the movie, okay? I mean, You know, obviously, looking at this image, he's a bit of a stud muffin. But I've never noticed. I've never noticed the smell of cookies around him either. Okay, so that's a reference to the movie. So I want to do a little bit of heartfelt acknowledgement to the angels, including Archangel Michael here, because I don't believe that I've actually been one that's made their eternal life easy anyway. I certainly have really pushed the boundaries, shall we say. I have always found that the angels are without fail loving, kind, patient, tolerant, generous, compassionate, all of these wonderful attributes, including forgiving. And I say forgiving because I have made a few questionable decisions in my life. And during those processes, that blessings unseen business and not taking on the lessons learned and thinking about it later, I was pretty harsh to my angels. I had my own crisis of faith. And I sort of blamed them for a while that they hadn't intervened, that they hadn't guided me. It must have been their fault, mustn't it? Isn't that the human thing? Oh, it's not my fault. I tried. What were my angels doing? What were they having a nap at the time? Were they having a bit of a sleep on the job? All of that. No, my angels, oh my God, they were working. When I look back in hindsight, that's when I see all the signs that they were saying to me, no, pick another path. But no, we have to do the pathway. We think, oh my God, I just look back now and I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? So then after making these really unhealthy decisions for myself and driving myself almost bat crazy, then I got very angry. So as I say, crisis of faith, I basically gave them the equivalent of an etheric finger, middle finger. I was not a happy camper at all. It had really been stressful times. And I make light of this as in humour because this is why I say they're forgiving and they're just so beautiful and non-judgmental, because when we recognise the error of our ways, if you like, by the time the realisation kicks in for me and I'm thinking about specific circumstances, I can acknowledge and respect, actually, they did everything. They could not, because they're bound by spiritual law, they could not tell me not to do it. But they certainly used every ounce of energy they could to say to me that basically you may want to rethink this, okay? But I had locked myself into such a difficult position. It was very difficult to get back to it. So the reason I say make light, humour goes a long way. My guides have got a wonderful sense of humour, as does my angels. I felt like I need to go back and do what we call eat crow or humble pie, and apologise to them for being such a horrid little person to them. But the bottom line is that, they're just so glad to see us. You know what I mean? They don't hold it against you. They're not like humans. It's not like, I've done the videos on friendship circles where if people treat you badly, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to put you on the parameters now. You're in circle 4, okay? You're not going to get too close to me again, right? Because the angels are angels. It's not a case of like, oh, you misbehaved, so you can stay in circle 4. Their love is unconditional. So it's like straight away, arms wide open. Thank God you're back. You know what I mean? And their love is just beyond description. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So getting back to the point of this video, as previously stated, Archangel Jophiel, we're going to talk about in a moment, but each angel has a specific task under the hierarchy, so don't forget to look at that video. And for want of a better word, the angels are supervised by an archangel. As I said, I like to be a little bit logical or rational. Now, in the case of Amarushaya, she's a manifestation angel, and she is associated with Jophiel. He's the archangel. You may as well say he's her supervisor. I don't know that boss is the right word. I will be doing a video on him that you'll find in the angel playlist as well, but in the future. As with all the angels, his role, because remember we talked about teamwork, is that he coordinates an angelic team to help bring your manifestation to fruition. And he does it by connecting with other angels who have the specific qualities of perfecting the vision it is that you're seeking to attain. One of the angels, for instance, raises the vibration of the visualization and aligns it with divine purpose and the divine plan. Another angel opens the space energetically for the manifestation to occur, and yet another angel will balance it energetically and so forth. There's the communication aspect as well. But this is what Jophiel does. So he and his team of workers are working on this level, and then Amarushaya, we'll go to her now. So within the teamwork, Amarushaya's role is to coordinate and connect to the relevant angels that are required to support the manifestation. And she does this through ceremony. So within all of this, I'm just, of course, giving you purely my understanding of the process, and it may or may not be right. It may or may not resonate with you. To be honest, I don't think the way it works is really that important, because the bottom line is, for me, it works and I'm impressed just by the outcomes, shall we say. So depending on what it is that you're aiming to achieve, you can also invoke the protection of an idea with Archangel Michael through the use of ceremony. And generally, this would be a good thing to do if you're planning a new and unique business venture, because obviously, if it's a new idea, you want to reduce the competition. So you wouldn't be sharing that information with people that you know, because they might grab your idea and set it up as a business. Now, equally, the thing when we talk about energy is that we can communicate energetically and telepathically. So, sometimes I'm sure that you've seen it in your own life where you had a really good idea and you thought it was a great thing and you might do a business venture out of it, but you didn't, right? And then you find out somebody else has had the same idea at the same time, and obviously they haven't had a conversation with you. That idea has gone to them as well. So there is that telepathic communication, or it could simply be that here's a really good idea. It is the divine idea. It's a divine inspiration, and it's waiting for the right person to pick that divine idea up and do something with it. And the first thing that I think of with that is actually, believe it or not, this business in Australia. I don't know what it's like overseas, but in Australia, because ambulances were struggling to find the houses, somebody had this brilliant idea that they should put fluorescent numbers of the houses on the streets, on the cement curbs, so the ambulances could find them at night. And, that became a successful business for somebody once upon a time, but I think the Shires do it now. I remember I had that idea before it started, long before I was into this spiritual stuff. Okay, so going back to it, you can draw upon Archangel Michael to protect a business idea if you're attempting to manifest. Now, once again, reminder, manifestation, teamwork. Amarushaya will oversee the invocation, and for want of a better description, I would say putting out the call through a ceremony. So where Jophiel and his team of manifestation workers work on the vision and vibration of what it is you're trying to create, Amarushaya, with her own energetic magic, I'll call it magic, okay, although that immediately makes people think probably of Merlin the wizard or whatever, but with her own powers, she seeks out the specific or perfect angel energy to fulfill your personal needs. And in my experiences, I would say better than I ever could have envisaged. Your guardian angel will be involved in this process throughout, just in case you were wondering. And just a reminder that thought is energy, and it creates an instantaneous response on these higher planes. What else? So I'm just thinking, what can I put to you here to help you with this process? Basically, I don't just stop at one ceremony, okay? If I'm doing a manifestation and a big one and it takes a while for the manifestation to come to fruition, I will actually do repeat ceremonies. They might not be as big as the first one. I will usually start with a formal one. We'll talk about that later. But I will do repeat smaller ceremonies of gratitude to acknowledge the worker angels involved in this process. And that's my endeavours, because I believe that it helps to keep the energy and the vibration high. And also because I know that gratitude is an empowerer and it paves the pathway to receiving. Just another tip here is that doubts and lack of faith can block the receptivity. So just remind yourself that your doubts are a personal limitation. And I'd be questioning, why are you doubting the capacity? Is it because you don't think that you deserve the angelic love? Do you have a lack of self-worth? Because why shouldn't you have the support of the divine? Why would the divine not want to see you receive these things? Especially if it's aligned with their vision. Keep purifying your aura and focusing on remaining open to receive the blessings that are on their way to you right now. And that's what I do. So I will have repeat little ceremonies, even if it's just stopping by. And when I say I do, I must acknowledge that I have been slack and remiss. So I'm going to do this going forward through 2024. I'm going to create new habits again and get back into what I used to do, which was just walking past and taking a special moment to say thank you, walking in the door after a day out, coming through the door, giving a nod, a thank you. That's an acknowledgement, that's a ceremony, but it's an informal one. Doesn't have to be a big one. So obviously, I think you've picked up by now that we connect with Amarushaya through ceremony. But before we have our ceremony, we need to be really giving some thought to what it is that we're trying to create. What's the purpose? We can call on her for any number of reasons. The action of a ceremony is to create a channel and for her to bring that desired energy to us. And we have talked about this in the universal laws as well with divine connection. So I'm just looking at this. I'm going to give you some suggestions here, but of course, it's not restricted to this, okay? You could call upon Amarushaya for the purification of the aura, to transform attitudes and beliefs, to fine-tune connections to the Creator, to align will with Creator will for greater clarity of spiritual purpose. Use your own words when you create these. Certainly healing and transformation. People that are involved in metaphysics and healing activities would have ceremonies to direct healing energy to people for specific purposes, and that can include physical ailments. Okay, so whatever it is we're trying to invoke or have a ceremony for, the way it works is Amarushaya, here's the request, if you like. This is the way I see it. Okay, this is just my interpretation. And it's kind of like the spider's web where you've got all of these threads going out all over the place, multidimensional structures, and basically she throws the threads out to attract the perfect angel, to bring the perfect expertise to you or the person that's doing the invocation to fulfill what it is that we're asking for. Now, as you become attuned to Amarushaya's energy and any other angel energy, actually, you will start to feel this energy as a physical sensation. And there's different ways of you feeling it. Some people feel it as waves or like pulsating. Other people might feel it as tingling or as heat or changes in body temperature, stuff like that. But either way, regardless of how it's felt, Amarushaya attracts angels that are going to amplify and enhance the blessings. So I guess the idea of ceremony does fall into the category of ritual depending on the approach that you take. Now, as said before, you can have an informal or a formal ceremony. At the start of any new process or manifestation that I'm trying to do, I like to have a formal ceremony. And for these purposes, I like to have what I refer to as my angel altar. Now, you may already have one because it's not a new idea, it's not a new concept, it's been around for a long time as far as I know, and I decided to build my first one years ago. I do understand, because of the idea with the angel altar, that some people will jump to the conclusions that if you've got one you must be a Wiccan, but you don't have to be. And with respect to Wiccans, I don't identify as one. It's not something that I'm particularly into. Anyway, I must admit that as I do these videos for you, I'm actually revisiting the past and realizing that for 2024, I really need to lift my game and raise my own vibration. So I will be recreating a formal angel altar. At the moment, I think that I would turn around and say I don't have a formal altar. What I've got is a whole heap of spots where I've put crystals and candles and all sorts of things. It's like bits and bobs are all scattered throughout the house. It's not restricted to one specific area. So I think I need to consolidate it into one space. And to have that purposeful area. The idea of the altar is that it acts as a visual reminder to you, basically to sit down and count your blessings, because this will magnify the gratitude that you carry, and it paves the way for increase and escalation of vibration and that whole desire to strengthen our connection with the divine, which of course results in living with greater love, joy, peace, and happiness. The bliss bomb, the angel bliss bomb. Right, so when we talk about creating an angelic altar, what we need to do, obviously, is acknowledge the 4 elements, and I'm talking about earth, air, fire, and water. So this is just what I do. I've got a water vaporizer, which I use for essential oils. I've got more than one, actually. And that can combine the air and water aspect. When I said I have more than one, that's not because I'm trying to do braggers' rights. I'm talking about the fact that I'm scattered and not consolidated, because I've got one in the kitchen with juniper berries, and then I've got another one in the study where I work, and that one I like to use myrrh and sandalwood and all of that kind of stuff when I'm working. But realistically, consolidation is the key. Anyway, back to this. I also like to place some of my favourite crystals on an altar, absolutely, but right now they're scattered throughout the house. I think I've got selenite on windowsills. I've put up an image of a little basket of flower offerings here. It's almost like a gratitude basket. I haven't done one of those for a while, but I think that would be nice. I might put one of those back on. With my altar in the past, I would also like to put my sacred cards there, my specials, so that at some point during the day, I'm motivated as I'm walking past to just take some time out. Only has to be about 5 minutes, get a message for the day. I forgot to mention here that you can use fire on your altar with a candle or with incense. You know what I mean? Anyway, moving on back to this. When would I use my cards? You know, if I've become a little unsettled through the day and I feel like I need to center and refocus, that would be a time I might sit in the chair and shuffle the cards and pull a guidance message for myself. Before bedtime is always a good time to do it. If you're really keen, you could do one first thing in the morning if that's what you're up to. I think you really only need to do one once a day, but it's whatever you feel drawn to. At different times of our lives, we want to do it more often. For people who have children, parents, what I always found to be good was, you know, if the children start to become unsettled or there's opportunities in there to do a positive parenting thing, which is, did you want to go and sit in mum's chair, by mum's special table? We're talking about the altar, and pick a card. Pick a card. Even if they can't read, they can actually look at the pictures, and you teach them to respect a space as well. I used to have separate decks for my children that were more age appropriate for them, and that becomes an opportunity to discuss not only their emotions, what's going on inside for them and that kind of stuff, but also to discuss the images. And whatever, if the child's got some distress or something like that, it actually helps to calm them. So I found it to be very positive. So I think I've already mentioned this and probably repeated it a few times knowing myself. You can do formal and informal ceremonies. For 2024, as an example, I will be doing a formal ceremony. The idea is that you also do them at times like Easter and Christmas, and that we'll talk more about this in the next slides. I will always do a ceremony if I'm attempting to manifest something big. And I've got to admit, so this is a bit of humour injected here again, I hope you appreciate it. I've been a bit remiss over the last 12 months. So I have a feeling when I start my ceremony this year, because obviously you start by writing it down what you're trying to manifest, I have a feeling it might be a shopping list this year. But anyway, I'll write down the things that I want to manifest, and I'll include the specifics because this is important, which I talked to you before about the health issues that I'm addressing and some of the things that I need to do. So I'll be making those, and I'll be very specific and state what it is that I need to adjust, which could be I've got to adjust my palate to appreciate actually healthy foods again, because I can honestly say a lot of them I'm not a real fan of these days. I need to be eating regularly, reducing my sugar intake, stuff like that, and I need to take greater responsibility with meal planning, and that includes shopping. I'm just sharing it. This is the kind of stuff that I need to fix up about myself. I've found domestic chores an absolute bore this year, along with maintaining the garden and a bit of a drain as well. So I need to adjust my attitude to these responsibilities, I believe, and appreciate that I have a home and a house to live in, and to respect it and make the most of it. And in the process, the way I can do that is to incorporate beauty and appreciation into my environment. And I already know it doesn't need to be expensive. So on my list, I'm going to include these objectives. Now, we'll talk about how this will manifest, because I'm already aware. Honestly, when we talk about angels and this kind of stuff, once you've developed that communication, I'm actually not sure that we need to have a ceremony all the time to formalize the intent, because I can already tell, as I've been going through this, that I'm already going through an energetic shift, because all of a sudden, I really want to go down and get some KFC earlier today, but that's a habit, okay? And so today it was like, oh, do I really want KFC? The thought of that's a bit nauseating, actually. You know what I mean? So there's already energetic shifts happening for me. Some of the things that you could write down if you're feeling that life's been particularly difficult for you and you're not able to see the blessings within the current tensions, write down on your list that you would like to be made aware of what those blessings are. Can they reveal it to you? They might not be able to, but it doesn't mean that you can't ask. Ask for assistance to appreciate blessings seen and unseen. That could be one thing. I'm just reminded of something. I'm going to share a little bit of wisdom that I got through from my angels many years ago, and it might be relevant to you right here. Is that some time ago I was very, very frustrated at something that was going on in my life, and obviously it involved more than one person. It wasn't just me, there was other people involved, and I put it to the universe, why couldn't this happen now? I needed this to happen now, and I wanted it to happen now, and I didn't understand why, because I felt that I was ready for whatever this event was, which obviously I'm not going to share. I was ready for this event to happen now, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't happening. And basically, what came through to me was, this is my interpretation, because remember I've told you the guides, the angels are never unkind or unloving or abrupt. And what I was able to pick up and put together, they didn't say it to me like this, but because I'm a bit blunt, I put it like this, which was, yeah, you're ready, but they're not. And I remember taking that on board and then turning around and saying, so what you're saying is that the universe doesn't revolve around me, because I have a bad sense of humour, okay? So it's not like the angels said that to me, because they didn't. That's my if you like, distortion of a beautiful message, but it certainly was one that hammered home, and I was able to laugh about it too, which was, okay, I get it now, I get it. Actually, I'll tell you how they conveyed this to me, right? Was because when I was saying that I was ready, what they showed me was a jigsaw puzzle on a table, and there were all these hands, well, not a lot of them. The hands were putting the jigsaw puzzle together, and the jigsaw puzzle was ready, except for one part was missing, right? That part we couldn't put in. That's how they conveyed to me that actually all the parts must be ready in order for the big picture to be completed. There's a little bit of wisdom for you that I'm sharing today for free. Okay, have I said here, I'm just going to try and rush over this. Okay, when I do the invocations and I'm doing my ceremony, I always start with a creator. I use the power of 3. I will call upon creator first, my angels and guides. If I'm calling on a specific angel, such as Amarushaya, I will then call on her as well. I use the power of 3 because I'm a believer in the power of 3, and then I state my case. I don't whine, I don't whinge, I don't plead. I start with gratitude. I'm grateful for blessings seen and unseen, and I thank you for your ongoing support, right? During 2024, this would be an example of how I would put it. During 2024, I intend to address my health issues, and I seek your blessings to assist me to live physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. My intention is to revisit, this is for example, healthy eating habits and patterns, shopping, planned shopping, stuff like that, right? And I now invoke that I receive the blessing of a home angel to support me to maintain my home duties and obligations, as well as to help me with my health and responsibilities. So because it's a long list this year, then I'll be doing that. And if I could have the blessings of a nature angel to assist me in the garden, to maintain it in the perfect idea and divine mind, I would appreciate that. Grateful. I give thanks because I know that as I ask, it's done, right? Then I like to sit there with the energy for a little while and focus on sending the love and gratitude from my heart to the team of workers that help to manifest this dream or vision. Okay, you can put extra words on there if you want, like I invoke to purify and detoxify my body and raise my light levels to the maximum I can carry, things like that. Purify and detoxify your thoughts, anything. The world is your oyster. So as we discussed before, within my situation, I'm calling for a home angel. So what Amarushaya will do is put out etheric threads to bring the perfect home angel through to you or to me for my house. In my instance, this is just as well, because it's got to be the perfect one, because I already know, humour again, that my home angel is going to need to have some resilience, because if her role, which it is to take the love in the house and expand upon it, intensify it to create more love, well, that's fine. But in my instance, I'm asking for support, as you will have gathered, to do with diet and health, and to help me to feel more positive about my domestic chores. So within the context of me, we can say, well, I frankly find domestic chores a complete and absolute bore. I'm not a fan of cooking, all of these kind of things. And I'm very good at resistance at this point in time. And so I know that when my home angel comes in, I was actually just thinking about this. I really need to modify my attitude and approach, because I've already talked myself into going and getting that KFC for dinner tonight that I know I shouldn't have. And it just crossed my mind that if I'm very firm and I don't watch the way I phrase my invocation, it would not be outside of the realm of possibility that all of a sudden my car might break down. So I need to put out there that it happens in the divine and perfect way, because I don't really want to end up having to pay for a mechanic to fix the car, because I've told the angels that I want them to do whatever needs to be done to help me to maintain healthy eating habits. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm referring to. You've got to be a little bit specific when you do your invocation, because they will actually comply with it. And if I've been really firm saying, no, you must stop me from getting this KFC, and they're like, but you've got the keys in your hand, you're ready to go. They might make the car not work, and that will be incredibly inconvenient. So what I need to do is actually phrase it in a way that they change my attitudes, help me to change my attitudes and purify my mind and adjust my thinking in regard to these responsibilities and obligations that I've got to myself and to my environment. For those people that are living with a lack of safety, by the way, you could also, with the ceremony, ask to have protectors and guardians put on your house to keep you safe. That works as well. So what else can I tell you about ways the home angel can help? Basically, it's to teach you and me a little bit more gratitude, to develop an attitude of gratitude. As I just said, I don't like cleaning, it's a bit boring. And who does actually like cleaning and scrubbing the bathroom? Some people do. That's not me, but it's not up there as my favourite task. Same with mopping the floors and doing or washing the dishes. So I already know that if I get the services of a really good home angel, which I know that I will, when I approach my responsibilities, I will find myself shifting from this, like, oh my God, it's all so much hard work, to thank God I've got a shower, because not everybody's got a shower. And thank God I can afford the product to clean the shower, because not everybody can. And I'm so glad that I have an opportunity to have good personal hygiene because of the facilities that I have in my home, and that I can purify my body as well as my mind and spirit, things like that. This is how the approach changes. Thank God I've got dishes. They might be dirty, but oh my goodness, look how bright they are when they're clean, and it becomes sincere. It's not false, right? So, all these bad habits that I might have right now, which is I throw the washing in the washing machine, I hear it bing, and I think, yeah, I'll hang that up later, and then I have to wash the clothes 2 or 3 times. These are just bad habits. So the home angel can help us to clear stagnant and stale energy within ourselves. But another bonus of having a home angel is that they can clear the house of any stagnant, stale, or energetic dross that's in the atmosphere. So we can sit at a formal ceremony. How I will manage it going forward is once a week to acknowledge the blessings and efforts of the blessings angels. Because I know that the more we acknowledge them and send them gratitude, the more we magnify those blessings that we're currently receiving, and we also open the pathways to receive more blessings and abundance of them. And when I say that the energetic shift happens, there's no forcing of it. It just happens naturally, and we shift from this attitude of it's so boring and mundane and it's all too hard, to suddenly having it incorporated in our life in a way where it's genuine and authentic. So we can take the same approach with a garden angel, and we can connect with them when we're actually outside. I know certainly when I talk about the manifestation process happening in advance, I know that over the last couple of days, weeks, I've been going outside and looking at the garden and thinking, the rose bushes are looking a bit sad because they've really struggled over the last couple of years because of a specific pest, So all of a sudden you find yourself asking as you're out there, what can I do to help you, my darlings? How can I help you to thrive? And this is even before the ceremony. Having said that, today I actually went outside and I was like, what can I do for this garden to help it to be healthy? As I was going out and cleaning it up and picking up the palm fronds and that. And then as I'm moving around doing things that sort of comes through, put some sea salt on, because we're in the middle of summer. So we've got to be careful when we put plant food on and stuff like that, because it might cause burns for them. But basically it was like, put some plant food on, sea salt them tomorrow, the weather's good. Put the little hydration balls on them to help them through the summer. And so that's going to be tomorrow's task. Now, other ways that you can acknowledge the garden angels or the nature angels is you might want to put a little shrine out there, a statue and a candle, just as a way of acknowledging and saying thank you to the nature angels and sprites. Now, I know I will be really happy and feel that everything's going well when I hear the frogs again in the backyard going berserk. Other things that we can do is put in little gratitude baskets. Might put some of those up on the yarning at some point in time. But just, every time you go outside into the garden, just be grateful, I see the birds. I love seeing the birds coming into the garden. But anyway, give thanks even at your meals when you're having your dinner, because at the end of the day, you're having the product of the earth, be it, I'm not a vegetarian, whether you're eating animal or vegetable product, this is all the abundance of the earth. So give thanks to nature for your meals as well. So other opportunities for a formal ceremony connecting to Amarushaya. that we would call peak times of the year is actually around your birthdays, because that's the same as the new year, really, as far as energetic cycles go. We tend to find ourselves reflecting in the weeks up to the birthday of what has happened over the last year. And we have an opportunity to dissolve any accumulated judgments, fears, and pain. It's kind of like emptying out the cup, ready for a refill over the next year. So I would recommend that all of us set aside some time around about our birthday to do this review and reflection, and to plan out for the next year, and to meditate, dig deeply into our soul, and then write down our intentions for the upcoming year and seal them in a ceremony, because this is what we do. But don't forget, call upon the Creator, align with the Creator, divine will, divine vision, and then ask for the assistance of the angels for the process to unfold. So, just to give you a few more ideas on when the other peak times of the year are that you could do ceremony, that includes holidays, because they are sacred moments for the special release of angelic energy and blessings to you. You can tune into group energy as well. You can tune into the angelic energy in solitude or in meditation. You can offer your gratitude for the love and blessings that you've got in your life. You can call on Amarushaya and conduct a sealing ceremony and healing at the same time, for people that are unwell, or even to address your own health issues. What else? You can call upon Amarushaya for global healing sessions, and include ceremony within those activities as well. You can also call on blessings angels for weddings and anniversaries and births, because that's when there's an affirmation of love. Births are particularly special because it's considered to be a newly arrived eternal light. You can be as creative as you like with how you do rituals, when you do them, when you do these ceremonies, and just how you approach them. Just make sure when you're doing your ceremony, even if it's at the end of the invocation, that you visualize really deep, heartfelt gratitude pouring from your heart chakra and going to the divine, to Amarushaya and any angels that have been included as part of the team of manifestation of the blessings toward you, because this is an opening of the heart. So it's a really vital part of the process, that love and gratitude. So at this point in time, I'd like to thank you all very much for being part of my journey today and giving me the opportunity to revisit a lot of this content and reincorporate it into my life. I hope that I've given you all something, whether you believe in angels or not, to consider, to reflect, and to incorporate into your own lives. A reminder, at least, that the Creator wants us all to feel more love, joy, and peace, and to be able to radiate this divine love and peace to those around us. I'm really interested to hear your experiences. If you have your ceremony, let me know how that rolled for you. You don't have to be really explicit. Just, feel free to leave comments. In the meantime, have a wonderful, glorious, and blessed day. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video or catching up with you then. Take care, my friends. Thank you. Bye-bye.